All right. Well, thank you guys for coming. David and David and Marcus.
Yes.
Hey, I think we mentioned this last time, but it's more official now that we are going to open source Salt SSH on Windows. We're still looking at, we're still finding out if we can open source master on Windows, which is strange to me because all the code for it is open anyways. It's there in open. It's just we don't package it. In order for that to come to fruition, we want to get all the tests that run on a master on Linux running on master on Windows to make sure it's stable before we start building installers for it. The install anywhere has been approved, and I meant to start working on that, but we've been hit with other things internally that pulled on to other projects, so I haven't been able to focus any time on it. And the NSSM removal was actually bumped lower. The priority for us was master on Windows, and the install anywhere in NSSM was lowered on our priority list. So that's kind of what me and Joe and Chad have been working on. Last time we talked about Windows being slower on Linux. With multi-processing turned off, it's much faster.
It is.
Is that, you brought up an issue with the stack traces, and you had a PR in to fix those. And I was just looking at that PR. Is it still work in progress? Or is it something we can look at merging now?
Decide, because from my point of view, it is still work in progress, because what it essentially does is work around for not understanding what a parameter, where a parameter is being called. So essentially it dumps on a parameter, which is, for me, that's bad style. So in case that tries 91384 is none, then I am happy. But I would regard this as a hack, because this essentially makes the parameter of the function like superfluous. So I would rather remove it right away before I only work with code which only works with when the parameter is not being called. So this is, I only put it here because I'm unable to find the place where it's called. And then the place which calls it should get the option. But you decide if you like this hack, please take it and then copy it and put you as an author. From my point of view, I do not understand the code, so I would rather not put this into living.
Well, Pedro proved it. He didn't.
Well, then go ahead.
Say this was the wrong fix.
Yeah, he changed from 3 to something.
Oh, he wanted us to use this code, use the OR 3 to make sure that it actually got set to something.
Okay, I understand. And it still has this, from my point of view, lack in understanding. This still misses the place where the function is being called, but this is like running in that framework, Tornado framework, probably. I have no idea. So somehow this message is being called, and I cannot find it being called. So I just, after the fact, change things, which is probably very bad style. So yeah. You call me and then I behave, but only if you call me in a certain way, which is not exactly what we intend with functions being called. So if it works, nice. So I made it work, and it definitely works, but it must be confusing, and it deserves maybe a compromise would be, we have no idea where this is being called, so none saves us our ass. to do in the future, and then I would say take it. Otherwise, it's very confusing.
Okay. Well, I like it.
Well, I see your point. It would fix, for me, it would resolve another issue. So I would say go for it, but it's maybe add that comment.
So it looks like all these tests failed, but they failed for other reasons. So I think I can.
Oh.
I think that's the right. Thought that would make them all run again. Well, I'll see about the tests on this. Let me see about getting this into silicon. I'm going to take the whip off. Oh, maybe that's why it's not rerunning all.
Yeah, really. You could have had these whip pass, whip check not passed.
Well, I'll go see how to launch all these again. Maybe just make a little modification or something. I think I actually pushed some of these commits, didn't I? Yeah. So I can't really approve it, but awesome. I think we should get that in.
Okay.
Talked about rebasing. And we had a little talk about rebasing, how to rebase.
Excellent, because I now I'm listening. We discussed this. Maybe I wasn't present.
Last time I thought it was you that brought it up.
Yeah, but can you repeat? Because in fact I remember vaguely. But what is the official best and proven procedure to rebase? So pull upstream master. That requires I am currently on master. So then I would change master to whatever branch I'm currently on. But if it's master, I leave master. Then I say rebase.
No, it's if you're wanting to merge your pull request into master, then you need to rebase against master. So for example, let's use this one here. Yours. I'm going to rebase it because it's probably out of date. So I always come down here, copy this, get a command prompt here. Didn't copy apparently. Status. I'm going to delete my branch I have of you, which is this long thing. Then this should work. Because I already checked that out once before, so. What?
Well, if this is what it's saying, there are or could be that there are conflicts. Oh.
Holy smoke. I have too many complicated, let's see, remotes probably. That priv one might be conflicting. Good heavens. Let's make sure to get all this in recording so I look like an idiot for the world to, you know.
Oh, you can't. If you're working with Git, it's impossible to look like an idiot because it's.
Master here. Remote. Oh no, Git branch. So I don't have a local one.
Oh, I wanted to put that on Stack Exchange. Half a year ago, I saw a nice swim lane-like diagram of all this Git, which had an index and the remote and the upstream, and all the commands were nicely fitted into where they work on and act on. Have you seen that? Because I'm unable to Google for it. It was a real useful in the sense of understanding that there are 4 different things you need to keep your mind. You need to bend your mind around 4 different things when you work with Git, and it's easy to be confused. But you never have seen.
Can you share that?
I would like to, but I cannot find it again. That's I was asking you. I will put it on SaltStack. The question: who remembers that? Having seen that, I think it was some Node people who created. It had to do something with JavaScript, and then I said, oh, by the way, I've created this nice interactive help sheet, but with the understanding that you have 4 entities or at least 3 entities. And I said, oh, there are 4. That's terrible, and so forth. Okay, then I will post it on SaltStack, on Stack Exchange.
Okay, so I finally got this thing checked out.
Good. So
okay, so we're gonna
master.
So we're now in your branch. Big long thing, and we're gonna rebase it. So I'm gonna do git pull upstream master rebase.
And what is the difference against the other rebase command you have in your? We talked about this last time.
I don't know. That's just, there's a couple ways to do it. So I'm going to reset it now. Let's see. Git reset. Hard. Right.
So pull does a fetch and then a merge. And then you're telling it to do a merge rebase.
Right.
Rebase the merge. But if you just put git rebase, you're being explicit. Rebase this on that without the fetching.
I wonder if I actually reset it. Did I reset it? It does not act.
So, David, would you prefer what Shane does, or do you prefer other things to rebase?
Well, when you do a pull, it's almost like a shortcut to doing 2 operations in one. So I think if you know that your repositories are up to date, then you don't need to pull.
Yeah.
And then by running a git rebase, you're sort of being explicit about what you want to accomplish.
Okay, so you tend to first merge and then rebase and skip over
first fetch.
But
I might only fetch, once a day or something.
Git fetch master.
Yeah.
Well, that must mess something up.
No, get fetch upstream. Only upstream.
Oh, yes.
Fetch upstream. Okay. So now we have fetched the upstream.
This is the other method.
Yeah.
It looks nicer to me. Fetch and rebase. This is exactly what we are doing, and it has less minus minus in there. Minus minus always makes me nervous.
So when it's when it's a simple like this, I don't generally have a lot of problems with it. But like yesterday, they wanted me to rebase my PR onto another branch. And when I was done, I had like 500 commits in the PR after that, you know. I had to fix a bunch of conflicts, and it never goes real clean for me. And I ended up wiping it out and cherry picking my commits into it, and resubmitting it. So I don't know what the best way to do it is. If it's a simple rebase like on this PR, then I don't have a problem with these commands with either git rebase upstream master or with git pull upstream master -- rebase. I don't have a problem with either of those.
Probably the pull rebase does pretty much the same thing, but adds the fetch before.
It does the fetch for you before. Yeah. I am not the king of this. I know enough to get what I need done, and a lot of times I end up having to just do a reset hard or a delete the branch and start over. You know what I mean? I mean, the nice thing about Git is the hashes seem to stay there even when you've messed it up. So if you can find your hashes, you can cherry pick them back in.
Yep.
It's not, the work isn't lost usually. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I'll just add that there's also an interactive rebase where you can pick and choose commits to kind of stay in your branch, and I do use that fairly regularly.
So how do you call that command?
Git rebase minus or -i, and then you choose the rebasing branch, and then you can do a lot of things like edit a. So those are the 3 commits which are going to be sort of in the new branch, and you can do a lot of things here, like change the commit message. You can squash 2 commits together. You can kind of, there's this, I use fix quite a lot, which is you kind of merge 2 changes together and only keep one. So you can fix a previous commit very easily. I mean, that's what I mostly use.
So how do I call those commands? Do I just type an F right now?
So you would replace the pick with F or the whole word or whatever. So you're basically, you're kind of editing the commands that are going to be performed on the branch.
So if I want to squash,
and you can also like move them up and down.
So it's like a batch script.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, cool.
So you would move. You would, for example, move the bottom commit up to the middle location, and then you would change the word pick to F, and that would kind of. I'm not saying that this is necessarily correct here, but and then that would put the change of that middle commit into the top commit and get rid of the commit message.
I see. So fix up or F?
Well, they mean the same.
Oh, I see. Yes. Okay.
So how would I merge these or squash or?
All of them, all three. You would change that command word at the start of not all of them, of the lower two, I believe.
Okay.
So you change, the Pki to S and do it on the previous one as well.
Oh, and it will squash them all into this one.
Into that top one, yeah.
Okay, please don't laugh. What does squash mean?
It combines them all into a single commit.
Okay, sounds good.
So you don't have 100 different commits. I have never used this.
So, and you would get the
you can really kind of tidy up your PRs.
Yeah. Yes, I think I like that.
While you're working, you could do 10 or 20 separate commits,
which I tend to do, but then it looks very ugly in the pull request.
Yeah, but then as you get to the point where you're pushing your branch up to GitHub, you could use this rebase and then do different things, edit the commit message without changing anything. As I said, kind of fix a previous commit or squash all of this. I mean, I do use it to kind of tidy up my work.
So it's reading fix up is like squash, but discard the commit message. So that means squash keeps all commit messages?
It kind of puts all of the messages into one. That's what squash does. But fix up gets rid of the fixing message.
But wouldn't then the commit message become 3 times longer than allowed? I mean, there is, I think sometimes there's a message saying your commit message is longer than the recommended.
Well, you can, I mean, with the fix up, it gets rid of the message.
Yeah, with the squash, they're all like tidied or concatenated.
But if you're concerned about the commit message itself, you can use this reword, so you could put a reword on that top commit, the pick, and then it would, in this next step, you could change the message.
Interesting. Yeah, I think this makes a lot of sense because after I tried many things, I'm sure I can tidy up the commits. That's very useful enterprise here.
You can do them in different order. That's interesting. So this right here would discard this message, this message,
but put the changes.
Append this message to this one.
Yes.
And merge them all into one commit.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm doing it.
Good. Small.
Damn it.
What was it?
So it's done it, but now this is the final commit message.
Okay.
I think that's and so if you were happy with this, you would do the save, the WQ. But then if you wanted to edit the previous the commit message, you could go back into it now.
If I wanted to do what?
If you wanted to edit.
Oh, do a message. Get the rebase I?
Yeah, but you have to give it a branch, which would be master usually.
Now I can edit this. Accept it.
Well, rewords, reword is what you would use.
So where's the second line?
You don't need it. You just change that to R.
But there is a second line in this commit message.
That's true.
There's these 2 lines here.
You haven't reached that bit yet.
Well, it only showed me this line.
Yeah, that's just a summary.
Oh, I see. So you do a git rebase.
So it
Here.
shows only the first
you would
line.
choose, yeah, you would choose what you want to do, which is reword.
Reword. Okay.
And then
I
save and commit, save and quit.
Have you changed anything?
And then I can edit it here.
Yeah.
Oh, only afterwards. Ah. Uh-huh.
So yeah, like Marcus was saying, it's almost like a batch script. These are the list of commands which you're going to perform during the rebase.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Mine did a bunch of. Dang it. We have
only
this,
now your screen is a little bit screwed up.
We have this pre-commit scripts that run, and when they mess up, sometimes they mess up the terminal.
Oh, I see. But in the end, you now squashed and reworded and put this all into one commit.
Yeah, and then you have to push up to the upstream, well, not upstream, up to your fork or whatever. But I would recommend you, the force with lease is the command switch.
Sorry?
I was just saying, when you push it up, the recommendation is to use this command switch called force with lease.
Okay. Force?
With what?
So if you do a dash, no, it's all in one word, force dash with lease, as in like a rental or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I've never heard of force with lease. What does that do?
It checks, because push can potentially be destructive. You could lose other people's work. And this force with lease makes sure that the upstream branch is where you think it is and nobody else has added any more work.
Yeah, I see. There could be a time race. Somebody pushed something before and then...
Exactly, yeah. But I think here, I'm not sure if you have permission on Marcus's fork.
I do.
Oh, you do?
If I do a force, it'll go. That's how I always do it.
Failed to push some refs.
Ah, right. That's because, so I think that's kind of the whole purpose of force with lease, is that there were some, you weren't quite at the same head commit. But anyway.
So let's make sure our changes are all the same. It looks the same. And now we only have one commit.
Good.
Instead of three. That's interesting.
In this case, this was extra complicated because it's you pushing to something in my branch. So push with lease is a precaution.
It's a precaution, yeah.
Very good, very good.
Awesome.
Yes, and also I was wrong about lately. I said, well, this could fix my issue because I would put then 10 millions there. It's enough to put there something like, what was it, 4 hours. And this will do. So I could really use that. So it's good that it's going into master and will be one day become released.
Yeah.
After you wrote tests, how do you want to do that?
Oh yeah, I gotta write tests for this.
Will these people will be hanged one day, which demands a test for everything, or will you go on this test?
Oh, the tests are good, Marcus.
Yeah,
they're good, but they are really painful to write. But we need them. So I did say I was going to write tests for that, and I think I even looked at it. Let me put that in here. Write tests for.
While we're making jokes, there's something which crossed my mind. I think it's again the Unicode discussion, which one night in February, didn't let me sleep. And I think we're setting a code page, and we had kind of a framing problem. What is his name? Started with setting code page 850. This was Dave Boucher. And I think we should not set any code page. We should detect the code page, which is 1252 for the boxes in Germany, at least, and then deal with that. But now we're setting forth and back code page, which seems to me maybe work, and it's all definitely passing through the tests. But why we are doing that? We have the ability to detect the code page before we interpret whatever comes from the machine, and we should interpret accordingly. There are only so many code pages. It's a closed vocabulary. Why do we jump to one place which we can decode when we can decode all of them? We do not need to set code pages and set them back. This was something which, what is his name, accomplished. He jumps into one code page and then back. And I only wait for the time when this creates a problem, which then will be very hard to detect. Shall I put that somewhere, or is this something we do not want to talk about?
We could talk about it, and we have talked about it. Talking about command run.
And I think it's funny, 3 people worked on that, and we all went into the direction, set the code page to somewhere we know. And then after a month, I said, well, why? We should query which code page do we have and then be happy with that. Now we are forcing all the universe into one specific code page, which, by the way, it's also not, it's UTF-8, sounds nice, but why we're doing that?
So it looks like we're letting you pass a code page now. And the code page is, if you're looking at the code here,
yep,
you can now specify a Windows code page.
Right. I think that's silly. Because when I start my machines, they have a code page, and I do not want to change to a specific one. So I would have to specify the exact code page which I'm sitting on, so nothing will happen. In fact, I could do that but the question is why we are changing code pages anyhow.
So the problem, I think the idea behind this, and I think this was a bigger problem with Python 2. So this might be some Python 2 problem they're trying to fix.
No, it's universal.
I know, but I think when you submitted a command in a code page, it would return that language. The return would be in that language. Does that sound right? Like if you did a list and then it would say
the encoding depends on the code page. It's not really the language. You could specify, well, depends on what you mean with language. But for the decoding fails hard if you cannot decode. And there are illegal codes which make the communication fail, which is very ugly. So you just have one non-ASCII character, and the whole communication is blocked. You cannot even see, and you cannot see anything. So jumping to a certain code page ensures that you can decode because you know what you're getting. But this is too much effort. And as good engineers, we try to do as less effort as possible. We need to know how to decode what you're getting back. But setting a code page is more invasive than just querying the code page.
Well, let's look at his PR here. Maybe we can see his reasoning.
So currently it works. I have no problems anymore since that thing.
Oh, this is from you.
Yeah, I discussed that with, I tried to discuss that. But now I'm getting, at that time, this was in a year ago, I didn't thought that what I tried to tell you now. And then we went into the resetting discussion, and I think this is, maybe that's very smart, but we shouldn't set the code page in the first place. So there is no need to reset it, I think.
He's saying we should set it in the scripts that's launch salt so that the shell is always in 6501.
Not even. Yeah, I would even, at that time I would agree, but now I would even disagree, because we should have less impact as possible. But now it's working, and I do not want to open this discussion when I'm maybe this is really a working solution, and we could scrap like 100 lines, possibly. We have more important things to do. I just wanted to tell you that I continued with that. So I think. I
wish I knew what he was trying to fix. I wish I could see the
problem.
I wish he would link to whatever issue he was trying to fix here.
It's from my personal issue also. So the problem is that for in Germany, the word for disk or disk contains a non-ASCII word because it's called Datenträger in German. So this makes all commands which include an operating system response, naming the word your disk is full or anything, or you even have services which have a verb, which I cannot remember now, which contains a non-ASCII word. So all kinds of service states broke salt communication utterly.
And because salt is translating that against the 437, which is doesn't contain the characters
yes
the return has, and so you get a stack trace.
Yes, it was a Unicode decode error.
So the fix here that he suggests, that he put in, was to change the code page to 6501, run the command, change it back to the original code page.
Yes.
And that's, what are you suggesting?
I suggest, I don't know, in one word, maybe another time, but in one word, only detect the code page, because on my machine, the code page which was preset is not 65001, neither it was 437, but it can be a different code page by the discretion of the original equipment manufacturer. So it works. So they know how to do the language for that. It's not we should not try to fix a problem. We can rely on the code page being set correctly in the first place. We can detect them and decode instead of setting a particular one. And because in fact also here our colleague didn't felt so well of changing the computer. In fact, we should not do that. So he set it back, and I would just start, but we had never discussed that. We can just simply grab or query the OEM code page, which in Germany would be 1252, and in Russia maybe something different.
So my question, if my code page is 437 and I do a dir command,
you never get enthält, you never get Datenträger.
If I change my code page to 1252 and I do a dir, does it then give me a different language?
No. This is no. That's the locale. But on Windows, you need to create the operating system. You cannot change these responses after you install Windows. It's really hard baked down to the ground. So you cannot switch that. You get a dir always in English, no matter what code page you set, and even no matter, you can switch your GUI to Chinese if you like Chinese, or French. French is really nice, but you always get the same DOS command prompt response in English, because this is how the machine is set up underground, and you cannot never change that. Windows is currently unable to change the underpinning language.
Used by the installer, the Windows installer, I presume you're talking about. The
so
locale, yeah, you can set the locale in the answer file. I'm just looking at this kind of thing, which is used when the Windows installer runs. So yeah, I think I get what Marcus is saying.
So to get French responses from the CLI, you would have to install French Windows.
Yes.
You can't just change the locale and get it.
No.
Or definitely not the code page.
Right. And maybe you could do crazy things. I never tried that, but then it's more or less the responsibility of somebody messing up the code page on the computer. I would even go so far, we should not try to correct that. I would really like to go, and I created another issue today. You may have not noticed. I would like to get Salt as containing less code as possible. I'm really getting, I don't know, unhappy with the size of Salt. So it's hard to test, hard to it's not sexy and so forth. So I would, I opened a pull request, which maybe we can discuss also in the last 2 minutes, which is in the null soft installer, you remove a number of Unix code modules, like by just deleting the directory. I like that very much. Just remove dir, and we're done with it. But you left out some half dozen modules. That's the first one.
This one here?
Yep. So I just mentioned them here because I do disable grains and disable modules on my Windows minions, but they shouldn't be there in the installer at all. They are still installed on the machine. And the problem with that is that we have ever growing and ever eagerly scanning virus scanners or antivirus scanners, and that stuff goes and find Unix related code in the program dir and alerts us. So we are getting alerts which I need to respond to. Yeah, please don't mind these salt stack people. They just put everything inside there. Never mind, it's not going to harm us, but it's getting annoying and it's bad press.
I think the fiber channel one doesn't have some Windows code in it? Like, does it detect fiber channel?
I didn't wrote that. This is what I take out. This is not strictly, I think ESXi is, you can take out ESXi, maybe not all of that. So I just put into what I use and removed something. Maybe fiber channel is fine. Sorry for that.
I can see removing most of these. I would leave this one.
I will put it out, right? And it's not urgent, but I wanted to discuss it anyhow.
Now, there's also something we're looking at that we've been talking to the community about, and that is salt extensions. They're talking about breaking a lot of this stuff out into a separate repos called salt extensions, and then you can install them kind of like pip installing what you need. You know what I mean?
Very good. I'm in favor already.
But we're probably a year away or more from that. It's a lot of work to get it all taken out.
Then put it into these, just take it as I just wanted to, are useful in the Windows world. Okay, then I can, yeah.
What is Napalm? Is that a networking OS, like a device?
Yes. Yes. So this is definitely, we could lower the list. This contains what is not Windows and I do not need. So I can remove what I do not need. So we come down to.
Does the Docker mod work on Windows? I mean, anything that will run on Windows, I think we got to leave. Because people might still use Docker on Windows. I don't know who does.
And nobody can use apt package on Windows.
Yes, those should be removed. In Zipper.
So I will edit the lists directly.
He says MySQL.
I like MySQL, so I put that back.
No, I agree. We can strip these out some more. We can strip them out of the installer itself, like you said.
That would be great if you, because it will also reduce size somehow, even each 10 megabyte matter for.
So where do we do that? In the build package, is that where we do that? Yeah, right in here. So we do remove Zipper. Is Zipper in your list?
It is.
And
so.
Let's see, is apt in there? Yeah, too far. Apt should have been in there. Yeah, apt package comes out.
Oh, it was. Maybe this is older documents. So you removed it afterwards because I found it in, but that was like maybe 2 years ago.
Did I remove all the Bodo? I don't remember if I removed Bodo stuff. I don't think I did. But we can definitely curate this list a little.
Right. Napalm is not here.
Let's see if Napalm. Yeah,
it is.
all the Napalm stuff comes out.
Great. So let me edit that then. This is which file? Can you?
Yeah, build package.bat.
I see. Window package. Wonderful. I will improve the list by shortening it.
So that's out of the modules directory. I remove stuff out of the states as well. I'm not removing any grains. So that would be something we could add to this. If there were grains that we don't need, that don't need to be there.
Yeah. Anything which is simply impossible to use should not be added. And even something like the Unix man pages, which are quite huge.
Sure.
But let's look at your priorities. I will curate that list. So thank you for reminding me. Build package, is it? I think I have added what I think is the most important issue for me would be the renewal of the private Pki key. And there was in February somebody else asked that. And this sounds like a very boring issue. It's security related, but at any point in time, security can become very important. And as it is now, you can only change the master key when all your minions are online, which is not the case for us and never will be. So this is a major disadvantage. And it's maybe not only Windows, it also applies to any laptops, be Linux, Mac OS, which are not currently online. You cannot call everybody into the company, please set on your computers, we need to change the master key.
And you were suggesting a key rotation mechanism that would allow machines that aren't connected to later reconnect and get the new key.
Yes, I also drafted two procedures which would, from a high level perspective, and these are only two proposals, but there
Did
are.
you have an issue for these? I
I
remember
hope so.
seeing.
Let us look for the issue. Rotate keys or I should remove all these. These are open.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, unable to rotate. No, the log. Sorry, log file rotate, but it's a log file.
Did we do it as a SAP? We didn't do that.
That's strange.
Unless it got closed.
I'm pretty sure it's not.
These are older. I remember talking about it with you.
We recently talked about this anywhere. Can you find the anywhere install anywhere?
Was it from you or just any issue?
No, this was from somebody else. I recently added. We discussed something. Install, yeah. Oh, this doesn't work so well.
Search kind of sucks. Can you do quotes? What we're looking for, was this the one? Oh.
Yeah, allows how to be installed anywhere. And when we're looking a little bit down, I recently commented on that, saying, and then my priority would be yes, Cruiskio was adding that's perfect. I agreed to Cruiskio, and then 4 days ago, I said, oh, by the way, my priority is, it's coming now. Key rotation was it, and these are the two. There are two issues. 5.9. Oh, you need to go up. There's right one up here. 5.9 something, and these are now also added some high level idea how that could work. And I asked somebody from VMware to have a look, but he hasn't found time.
Here's where you put it. Okay, so let me get these in our notes.
Because you understand, I mean, I assume when inside when all your machines stay online, you can change them, and probably many people have regularly. It's good practice to change the keys every 2 years, maybe. And you should not leave all these laptops which can go offline for a while in the rain. Bless you.
I'm sorry. I've got the Rona.
Don't joke with that.
I'm not joking. I think I actually have it. It's a good thing.
Well,
yeah, I hope y'all are wearing your masks. You've been in this meeting with me for an hour.
You serious? You think you have you
Yeah.
have you done tests on you?
No, I haven't done a test, but my wife can't smell any, taste anything right now. She's been
Oh, I
sick for
see.
a couple of days.
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's
the symptoms are lining up.
sorry for that, but it turns out that can also be can be mild. Knocks you out for a week. Sorry.
It's all good. I'll pull through. I think I'll pull through. All right.
And maybe somebody wants to discuss these. Maybe that's a good time, or you want to stop? And David, sorry if I always conquer all the time. I'm having a bad conscience.
Well, it's good that we have things to discuss.
Okay.
Yes.
Then, if you want to discuss, then this would be. I would like to hear your feedback. So it's. I have two procedures. Which one do you like more? Because I would even start implementing them because it seems I have the most pressure.
You're talking about the key rotation thing, yes? Well, yeah, I mean, I would have to see what you've proposed myself. But on this topic, I guess I should just add that I've started using ESET antivirus. And something that I've noticed with that is you can have a self-hosted sort of server to control your antivirus clients. And that's all done with certificates. And they do allow this kind of certificate rotation. And you sort of have to give a deadline by which. So there's a period where both certificates work, I gather.
Yes.
And then you have to put a deadline of, let's say, a month or something, by which time you expect all of your clients to have connected and updated and got the new certificate.
Exactly. So
it is something which is, well, is done by other systems.
So this wouldn't be, we cannot use their solution, but I could use their description to say ISET is doing it in this way, and we assume they have thought about before going on the market with that. ISET, is it?
ESET, as in
Nod 32.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Nod 32.
It's an antivirus suite.
Oh yeah, ISET.
The E for elephant.
For elephant, yeah, that's European English. Europeans having trouble with English. ESET. Oh, I see. And what do they do with the certificate? Where do they change them?
I'm just saying that you can have a self-hosted server to manage your antivirus clients, endpoints, they would call them. And it's just something that I'd noticed in the process of setting one of these up, that it's all based around certificates.
Yes,
the clients need to know the certificate of the server and vice versa. And one of I'm sure I could probably find documentation about it, but one of the actions that I had sort of come across was the fact that you can change the certificate.
Yep.
And it happens on sort of a timetable.
Yep.
And you give your clients like a month to check in and get the new certificate before it's expired.
Rotated.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, I see. I think that in fact was the first solution I came up with, and I think this is, if it's ESET is doing it like way, it gravitates to the first and more easily to understand version, because then I came up with a second idea, but then second ideas tend to be more elaborate and stupid and silly. So when we have a grace period, this could be this is like it has default value, and you can change yourself, because maybe you only want to wait for a week for some urgency. And so you would have, all the clients would have 2 keys of the public keys of the master, as they have an ESET. And then at a certain point in time, which is the end of the grace period, all these minions, which we rely on the date and clock, but I think nowadays we can really assume that the clock is going correctly. They would switch, and everybody would be happy, except those who were longer than the grace period, not coming home and not phoning home, which I think is something which can, if you can do this grace period a year, because next year you want to change finally the, so you would get all of them. I think this is maybe, I'm wondering, for such a security sensitive system, the absence worries me a little, much more than the question of whether code pages are being set or not set.
Yeah, I think this, I don't know if we could have 2 keys running simultaneously.
No, and you shouldn't. You should have the second key after the grace period hidden into some silly zip file which never gets touched unless the day of the ending of the grace period starts, when the 2 are exchanged. At one point in time, you have only 1 public key of your master. The question is, at each start of salt server, maybe maybe you need to, the minion must pay attention to the end of the grace period, which then it shuts down, removes the only public key it has, throws it away, stamps on it, and takes the second public key of the master and puts it in place and starts again if it happens to run over midnight.
Okay. Again, I was hoping that DWAS or Pedro or some of these other guys that get into this side of the code would chime in on this. I can bring this up in our meeting.
Please do, because I personally never like thinking about security. That's not my favorite piece of work, and I assume nobody's. But you're getting awfully rich with that stuff, so you have no security feature?
Well, these are labels.
Labels?
I don't know. I guess not. No.
Interesting.
Did mark this as a feature.
And I would also suggest to remove the Windows label. It's like, do you have a laptop label? Then it's not Windows related, really.
It's cross-platform.
It's like minions can go offline for because there are laptops. And as much as Microsoft would like it, there are even laptops not from Microsoft. The absence of a security label is also intriguing. You can create one. Nobody will read you.
I think the security stuff is handled.
Severity. Oh, wow.
Let's see if there are any other ones that this would apply to.
I cannot change the name of that. And Sage changed it from bug to feature, but then the negation makes it hard to understand. If it's not a feature to have no master rotation. So if you can remove the no in the headings, it becomes easier to understand. It is a feature request. That's
so drop it on silicone. So we'll talk about it maybe.
okay.
Where did my, oh, there it is. Okay. Well, I'll try to bring this up in our next meeting where we talk about the stuff and
perfect. I'm grateful for that. I would like to repeat. Can you remove the feature no master key rotation to feature master key rotation?
Where is this up here?
In the heading, yeah. I cannot edit that. I can. It was a bug. So the bug was there is no master key rotation, which makes sense. But now as it's a feature, you kind of want to express what you want to have. So it looks like you do not want to have. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when Salt was written, they weren't considering desktops.
No, I know.
They were considering server.
Yes, but at some point in time, this creates the question for me, how long I need that. It's now much over the period where the certificate can be regarded too old.
Right. Okay, I'll bring this up. Was there anything else we needed to discuss before we end this?
Git rebasing was really useful. Thank you, David.
That was good, David. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, I do have a bug to report. I mean, I'm going to write it up, but I can mention it quickly. Basically, the file recurse state doesn't work when the directory that you're targeting is owned by trusted installer. Because
is owned?
Owned. So every file or directory has an owner in Windows. If it's owned by trusted installer, which many of the ones in C Windows are, basically file recurse seems to need to know the SID of the owner of the file or directory. And trusted installer is a sort of a strange user, and it doesn't have like I don't know if you need to hard code the SID in or something like that. But I will, I was going to report this as a bug. I'm pretty certain that it is a bug.
I see.
Because so also it only changed in the last few releases.
Oh. I remember for years ago that file recurse also was unable to operate on hidden files.
Interesting.
So if you're at it doing tests, you can just, I don't know, it's attrib or something. I don't remember how to hide a file.
Right, yeah.
And then it just also fails. So I have a command running regularly setting attribute to non-hidden, and I wanted to put a bug report, and I didn't. I did never. So either I should test myself, or if you're testing file recurse, could you attribute?
I'll try. Yes.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to look at tests for 59064 so we can get that in and discuss key rotation with the core team in our next meeting, where we can discuss that.
Looking forward to that. And also thank you for your feedback. I have not much time, but I will then edit the two proposals, and having the first one give it more weight by referring to AZ, and that's giving it more weight than the second one. So
okay, well, I might look up some documentation if they have any describing that process.
I think it's a rather universal principle you must find anywhere where there are certificates, and being offline, that's not so. There must be many systems implementing similar things.
Mm-hmm.
Windows itself, I think, that does a similar thing. Changing certificates and root certificates and whatever.
What you call that thing? The Z what? What was the name of that VPN?
Oh, the Zscaler. Yeah, this was. Can you maybe find out whether that is possible? So, yeah. Yeah. Perfect.
Yes. I can ask Bryce Larson. He's our networking guy. He's set up all our VPNs and stuff, and he seems to. All our minions and masters all talk, so maybe he knows something that needs to be done for setting up a split tunnel VPN. And
yep.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. Looking forward. Nice.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thanks for coming to this long meeting.
Okay. Thank you. I hope you feel better soon.
Yeah,
thank you.
In fact, good point. Most important of all. And
well, if you haven't got your health, you haven't got anything.
That's quite true. That's
yeah.
Humor helps, but in fact, even then, it's more important to have. Well, in fact, good. Also for your wife, you mentioned.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, guys. We'll talk to you next month.
Okay. Cheers then.
All right. We'll see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.